In this video we're going to show you how to deploy Office 2019 onto a remote desktop server. So we're going to first of all go to get the Office deployment kit. So for the current version, the URL for this will be in the description. And when we scroll down in here, we see we can download the deployment tool. So then we download this. It's only small, and when you run it, it asks you for a location. So we're going to put the files into, let's create a 365 folder in there. We'll put it into that folder, and now you can see that in the C drive 365 we've now got this collection of files, and you need to run from a command prompt. You need to run the setup file, but with the parameter of one of these configuration files, which you need to edit before you run it. So this is the configuration file that Microsoft give to you as an example. So these are the bits that you need to be concentrating on, and it allows you to install more than one product. So this is installing Office Pro Plus Retail, but it's also installing the Visio Retail as well. We don't need to do that. I've prepared a configuration file that we can use. So I've got that in a different directory. So in here you can see we've got this one configured. Now I've changed the path in here. This is addressing this same server that we're on at the moment. It's addressing it with a UNC path name, and that IP address is always this machine. It just refers to this machine. So if you ran that on your own, it would actually find it. So it's going to look at this machine and then a share name of 365. So what I did here was shared this folder. So this one that I've got here is shared as 365. So the way that we'll now address that is using a command prompt, but we'll raise that to an administrator level. Okay, so we'll address both the setup file and the configuration file with a UNC path. So we'll go // 127.0.0.1, which is the IP address of whatever this machine is, and then we shall go to the share name, which is 365, and then the executable file, which is setup.exe. And then the first thing we need to do is download the installation files for 365. So we give it a download switch, so /download, and then the parameter file. So we've got again, we go 127.0.0.1 /365, and then / and the name of the configuration file, which we called config.xml. Okay, so when we press enter, the system is now downloading the installation files for 365, and all we get to see for this is a flashing cursor. So you just have to sit and wait for this to finish. Once it has finished, we'll get a proper command prompt with the path waiting for us to type something else in, but at the moment all we'll see is that flashing cursor. Okay, so we're back again. Let's see how big that file actually is. So let's go into C temp. This is the directory that it's created. So it's actually 3.29 gigabytes, so it's quite a lot of data. Okay, so we'll go back to the command prompt. Now another way we can address this, instead of having to share the file, share the folder, we could actually skip that bit and go for 127.0.0.1, which is the computer. But actually, instead of going for the share name directly, we could just go for $C, which is the actual C drive of that server. So again, it's a little bit generic. So we can then go and type in the actual path name. So we had temp Office 365 install. Is that right? Let's check. Office 365 install, yes. And then we can go setup.exe, configure is the switch, and then again we need to give it the parameters. So 127.0.0.1, which is the machine. C drive with $1 on it gives us access. As long as you're an administrator, you should be able to get to that. Temp Office 365 install. And then config.xml. And there we go. So we can actually get that to work without actually sharing the folder. So this it's a tricky process to get this working, but actually you can do it with just a 127 address. Okay, so we've just had notification the sys tray that the installation's finished. So we should, there we go. So we can click the close button, and in theory we should be able to open Word. Okay, now one thing to note, the Office 365 Business Standard license is not enough to license this. You must go up to the, I think it's the E3 license. Your support is really important to us, and it would make a great big difference to our YouTube ratings if you could go and click subscribe on our channel. That would be really appreciated. Thank you.